fighting, won't stop fighting. You can take my side and tear my body. I won't stop fighting, won't stop fighting.
Hey guys, this is Spark Plus Ultra here, and this is part 4 on what if Deku had Yu Ominae's ability. Take down hostile threats, and I hope you like this video and hope you subscribe. When All Might has picked the teams, Deku then yawn. Since when am I partner up with you, Bakugo? And Bakugo says, why the heck am I on a villain team? For Christ's sakes, I want to be a hero. And Deku, not surprised on that reaction, and rolls his eyes. You can be a hero anytime, but right now you need to work on your face, pal. And Bakugo says, shut up. And then Deku says this, listen, we need to be villains to take down the hero team, and don't be reckless. Deku looks at Bakugo, and Bakugo says, I'll try not to kill them that badly. And Deku says, works for me. If I'm correctly right, our fight is against Momo and Mineta. And Bakugo says, I'll call dibs on that purple ball one. And Deku says, alright. And then they reflect on All Might explaining the rule. Alright, young heroes, it's time to get in a fight with your group and become on different sides. One side is a villain team, and the other hero team. Villain team needs to protect their weapon from the hero team, and the hero team needs to stop and capture the villains. And then All Might then grabs the team and was explaining on how it worked. And Deku says, I'm still surprised I got you. And then Bakugo says, don't be so thankful, in a sarcastic tone. And Deku says, hey, I'm not picky. I would honestly choose you sometimes if you weren't that cooperative. And Bakugo says, you wanna die? And Deku says, relax. First we need to separate those two. And Bakugo says, that's gonna be easy enough. And Deku says, oh, how so? Have you heard that, pervert? And Deku says, fair point. And then they thought of a plan, and they both agree on how they're gonna take down Momo and Mineta. And Bakugo says, let's see if they could survive this. And Deku says, jeez, you remind me of a certain person. Deku then reflects on his past with one of his friend / military instructor from our camp, and he gave him a harsh time in military training to the point that it's near death. And Deku, feeling the goosebumps from it. And Bakugo says, hey, are you scared? And Deku says, no, I'm not. And Bakugo says, ooh, strong-willed Deku being scared. Whoa. Giving a slightly annoyance to Deku. And Deku says, oh, whatever, let's get going. And Bakugo smiles and chuckles a bit. And Deku getting annoyed out of that moment when Bakugo was annoying him. Let's just get down to the mission, Bakugo says. Sure, whatever. And then Bakugo says, don't boss me around. And Deku says, I'm just asking you, I'm not telling you. And Bakugo says, you know you're a smartass. And Deku says, hey, can't hate the charm, pal. And Bakugo says, smartass. And then we get to Mineta and Momo. Momo and Mineta were talking outside of the door, and Momo says, this is going to be tricky. And Mineta says, why do I have to fight those two? But hey, I'm not complaining. And looking at Momo, but Momo looks at Mineta with a look of, don't even try it, Bob. And then Mineta says, how about we try to open the door? And Momo says, I guess. And Momo then creates a simple way to get in by creating a card and sliding it in and then opening it. And Mineta says, wow, you're pretty quick. And Momo says, it was just a simple task. And Mineta says, now you gotta get and find the bomb. I think it's better to keep guard out of it. And Momo then agrees on that. But don't come any closer. And Mineta says, I ain't doing nothing. And Momo then looks at him with a straight face of, don't even think of anything. And Mineta was pretty on guard on not to try to make Momo very annoyed or not to get her on her bad side. And then they checked every room, making sure that both Zuko and Bakugo were not anywhere in different places. And Mineta says, this is so bewildering. We don't even know where they are. And Momo says, keep calm, and we'll find them. And then they're on the third room. And Momo says, alright, we need to get going before the time runs out. And Mineta says, yeah, but I feel like I would choose the time right now than facing those two. And Momo says, that's not what heroes are supposed to do on hiding. And Mineta says, I know, I'm just saying. And then when both Mineta and Momo were going to the next stairs, Mineta trips on something. And Momo says, huh? Mineta? Ow! Mineta felt a tug. What the heck? And then Momo looks down. Mineta? And Mineta says, tripwire? And then here comes, looks like you fought for it! Surprise attack! Comes out and Bakugo says, gotcha! Purple head! And grabs Mineta and throws him. And Mineta says, ah! And Bakugo says, alright, Zuko, take care of the revealed one. And Momo says, revealed? And Suki says, got it, Kachan. And then Zuko and Momo were in a room, facing each other. And Momo looks at Suki. You put in a tripwire that we let our guard down for a second, didn't you? And Suki was looking at Momo, wondering what the quirk is. And he's keeping an eye on it, because he does not know the quirk and what it can do, but something that relates to how she wears her hero gear, quote, is enough to somewhat figure it out. But he still doesn't know what it is. It could relate to her being a ability of hers or something. So he has to be cautious. And Suki takes a stance and looking at Momo. And Momo then creates a weapon to keep from defense, and another weapon to keep in an attack. And Suki then finally figures it out. She could create anything from her body, but he doesn't know how much she can do. So he needs to be cautious on this one. And Momo says, I won't lose this. And Suki says, well, we'll see. And then both were keeping an eye on each other. And Momo was thinking to herself, what's with the suit? I've never seen that gear before. Never seen it, but it's somewhat with fibers in it. But I don't know what type. I'm taking a guess that it's made for defense on piercing and slashing, making it pretty defensive. He's very built, and Momo was taking a very cautious approach. I need to make sure to land a good hit to make it very... But when she was thinking on how she could possibly make a Zuki go down or submit, Zuki then rushed her, and Momo says, "He's already coming at me?" And then Zuki goes for a punch, but Momo then uses her shield to try to block it. And Momo's shield then blocks it, but when it blocks it, she's been pushed back. And Momo then looks at her shield. Huh? He's stronger than I thought. And Suki says, "What's the matter? Can't think while keeping an eye on your opponent? You need to execute it, not hesitate." Momo then creates another shield, stronger than the other one. And Momo thinks, he's right, but never expect him to be that strong. And then Suki looks at it again. That shield looks like a different material. It's different from one I punched. That one was steel. I was holding back on her, not to injure her, but I need to evaluate her. And Suki then rushes her again, and Momo was not surprised this time, but she then sees how fast Suki was getting, and then she swings her spear, but Suki then grabs it and snaps it, and Momo was shocked, and then Suki follows it up with a kick. Megaton kick! And then Momo then uses her shield to block it in time, and Momo then felt that kick and gets pushed back again. And Momo was very surprised on how quick his reaction was to that spear and how he disabled it from her at an instant. And that his kick was even stronger from when she blocked it, her shield that was made out of titanium. And she looks at the shield, but there wasn't a mark. It was just impressive on how much force Suki was pushing. And Suki then stretches his arm, and Suki says, "Sorry for doing this, but it's for evaluation on you." And Momo was realizing this, and Momo then thinks, "Evaluation? He was holding back on me. He could instantly defeat me out of this, so no wonder he was holding back for those seconds. He could obviously disable me, or even destroy some of my creations." And Momo then tries to think of something, and then Suki says, "Are you gonna give up? I'm fine with you giving up." And Momo then looks at Suki on what she heard, and Suki says, "Listen, I'm not ruthless like a certain someone here. I want to go easy on you." And Momo then says, "Thanks for the advice, but I'm not going to give up that easily." And Suki says, "Alright." And Suki thinks to himself, "I haven't even used my quirk once. Probably a good thing, but I had used my power suit to try to adjust to how much density that shield was. And I was right on evaluating on that shield." And Suki then comes at Momo with a quick and tries to finish this as quick as he can. But when he does that, Momo then creates something that was out of the blue, and then Suki then sees a doll girl. I've seen one of those. Thinks to himself, those aren't Russian girls? Russian dolls? Why did she? And then Mom covers her eyes, and then says, "No!" And then Suku looks at when they were opened. They were filled with flash grenades! And Suku says, "Oh crap!" And then a flash of light comes out. Momo then attacks Suku using two swords, and Momo says, "I have to make sure that I don't make any bad results out of this." And Mama then goes for Zuko and hitting Zuko with the sword, and Zuko felt that on his shoulder. Ow! And Mama then exactly predicted. I was right. That metal is stronger than I thought. Feel it. So it's good that he won't get harmed. And Mama then uses another sword to slash down. And Zuko felt the direct. Getting pushed back a bit. Zuko then felt. Luckily closed his eyes, but his ears are ringing. And Mama was going on the offensive and trying to make Zuko go down and try to wrap a tape around him to make sure he's easily taken down. But it's going to be hard for her. And Mama then slashes 2 more, and Zuko was readjusting his hair, but feeling those sword swings. Mama was noticing the swords getting damaged by those every time she hit the armor that Zuko is wearing. And Mama then think, what is it made of? I know it's strong armor. I never expect it to be that strong. Then Mama then swings it again at Zuko. And Zuko then finally readjusting was saying this to Mama when she comes towards him. And Mama then swings the first one. Zuko then says, that hurts! And breaking the blade. But when he did that, Mama then goes for another one with her other one. And Zuko says, not this time! And uses his elbow to snap the other one. And Mama says, I thought you would do that! And Zuko then says, huh? And Mama then uses her creation to create a shield. And then Zuko says, good follow-up! And then Mama goes for a shove to take him down. But when Zuko said that word, Zuko says, bad execution. And then Zuko goes for a powerful punch that was increased by his power suit. And Mama then was flung back by Zuko. And her shield was destroyed. And Mama was on the ground, was going to get up. But Zuko pulls out his pistol and says, please give up. And Mama then looks at Zuko. And Zuko says, and that is already defeated by Bakugo. And Bakugo says, is that all you got? Purple ball? Come on! You're not making it any fun! And then Zuko says, time is almost up, please. And Mama then sighs, says, you win. And then All Might says, the villain team wins! And Zuko and lets his hand out and says, that was a good follow-up. That execution was the last part that was stopped. And Mama then says, thank you. I wasn't expecting you to use your elbow on my sword, and also willing to put amount of strength into my shield. And Zuko says, I knew that you were going to risk it all on those shots, so I had to make a contingency plan. You were too focused on my power armor to expect my other weapons. And Momo then realized, I forgot those aspects. Zuko says, it's alright, maybe I can teach you on a few tricks to actually get better. And Momo says, really? I was interested on how you made it look easy on how you looked into how I was going to attack. And Zuko says, oh, that's pretty simple, but let's get going. And All Might says, evaluating all of explaining how Zuko and Bakugo got the MVP, or mostly Zuko on that. And when the students say, ooh, he was very controlling on how make sure the others were in a good position and making a very good way to cut one from the other. Besides the flash grenades, he was obviously cool and calm-minded in almost every situation. And Moa then says, yes, but most people would react the same way on flash grenade. It's instinctive. And Zuki says, ugh, I wasn't expecting you to create those ones. Ugh, my ears. And Momo says, sorry, I had to win in certain situations. Zuki says, no, I understand. It's just, ow. And Momo was a little sorry on the flash grenades. And Chaco was very concerned on that one. And then, when all the students were getting back into their uniforms, Mina was peeking on them through a hole and saying that I can see their bodies and leaving out Jiro. But Zuki then says this, I wouldn't do that if I was you. Mina says, oh, come on, aren't you very interested? Zuki says, not one bit. A girl's privacy is privacy, and I'm not an idiot about it. And Mina says, whatever. And when he was going to look back in the hole, a earjack was struck Mina's eye. And Zuki says, told you so. You know one of the girls could literally listen in, and you were too loud. And it was Jiro who was listening and getting annoyed on what she heard. But when Zuki says, besides, Jiro had the cute side on her. And Jiro then smiles on what Zuki said, and Zuki says this, hey, I gotta give her a compliment on where she got to it. All the boys look at him like not really following what he's saying, but understands where he's coming from. And then the next day, all the students were in the lunchroom sitting down, and they were having a good talk, and then the students heard the bell for villains coming, but it was really just reporters trying to get in. So Suga asked Ida to help him out and basically like that make a big look of a fool of himself, trying to distract others. And Sugu, all the students were at peace. And then one specific day, Arkham says, alright, Sugu, it's time to get to work on your new weapon. And Sugu says, huh? I thought my weapon were already fine. And Arkham agent says, yes, but we were honestly testing it on certain situations. We modified your knife. And Zuki says, okay. And Curiosity was looking at him. You're going to be a little late on your hero examination thing, but it's not going to be that long. And Zuki then sighs and says, make it quick. I need to get going to hero rescuing. And the Arkham agent says, alright. And Suga was waiting on it. All the students were getting into the bus while Azawa was explaining. And Tenya Ida says, where is Zuka Midoriya? I'm wondering where he is. And then Chaka says, oh, he's a little late, but he's a little busy on the situation. And Ida says, huh? What do you mean by that? Zuki texted me that he was getting a upgrade on his knife, and Tenya was interested on what the knife was going to be modified or something like that. And then Azawa says, okay, you two, enough chit chat, you can talk on the bus. And Ida says, right. And Chaka says, sorry. Okay, let's get going. And Chaka explains what is going on and explaining on the knife thing. But Zuka didn't tell her all of it about him being a Arkham agent. And then the arcane agent says, "Alright, Suki, here's your new weapon, your upgrade." And Suki looks at it. Isn't my knife always looks like that? And the arcane agent says, "Yes, but try using it with your power suit." And then use his power suit's energy, and the knife glows. So it transferred all the psychic energy from my power suit into this, making strong cuts, right? And the arcane agent says, "Yep." And Suki says, "Cool, I gotta get going soon." And the arcane agent says, "Okay, you can use the knife we lend you." And Suki says, "Really? I don't think it's supposed to." And arcane agent says, "Don't worry about it, Suki. Luckily, we found a way to replicate it, so you can use it anytime. The only problem was the power suit, but the knife is easy to replicate." And Suki says, "Alright, I gotta get going." And then the arcane agent says, "See ya, Zuki." And then Zuki gets on his motorcycle and texts to his friends that he's coming to the rescue zone. And Ochako says, "Alright, he's already coming." And Ida says, "Good, he needs to get here soon, or his tests will be lowered." And Zoa was looking at that and says, "That kid has so much busy problems. I can't even blame him for that." And then they made it to the rescue center, and all the students were at the USJ, and all of them were in, and the person was 13, and she explains all about how quirks are very dangerous and all that, even the simple ones, like her black hole. And when she explains that, the doors were locked and villains were coming in, and they were real, and all the students were worried. Ochako was texting Zuki before the radio jammer was going to cancel their message, and Zuki then was stopped at the stoplight and lifts up his phone and sees that villains have came to USJ and are attacking, and Suki looks at it and gets serious. He revs his motorcycle and calls an arcane to help out with a very difficult situation. Call in one of the Spriggans now. And one of the arcane agents, "Okay, Suki, but which one? Call in Jung Jakmonde." Suki said the arcane agent was baffled on what he said. "Wait, serious? You want him? You know he has a very special mission, Suki." And Suki says, "I know, but this is serious." And arcane agent sighs and says, "Fine, but we'll make sure he won't tell anyone about your little school problem." And Suki says, "Alright." And then Suki rushes to USJ. All the other students were separated while Zawa was facing off all the villains. And then Suki has made it to the door. All the students were trying to open it, and Suki then puts a thermite on the door and putting 3 of them and triggering an explosive on it and getting on his bike and revving it up. And the thermite cuts through the door, and Suki rushes with his motorcycle in and says, "Da-da! Suki Midoriya is here!" and rushes in to battle and says, "Alright, now let's take down some hostile threats." And Zawa says, "Took you a while." And that's where I'm ending this video. I hope you liked this video and hope you subscribe. See you next time. Blessed.